has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show after a short 1 week break. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, well, episode 19 isn't going to be about whatever we said it was because it's the same as episode 20 now, right?
Pretty much. So this is the new episode 19. Okay, there we go. So last week we had a little bit of a hiatus, or sabbatical.
A sabbatical. It was a freaking vacation.
Heck yeah! Memorial Day weekend. We gotta.
Yeah, and I was out marching against Monsanto.
Earlier you says marching for Monsanto. I was like, dude, they would have jumped you. You would have had hippies on you like stink on poo.
Hey, I had a ton of fun out there in Tempe on Saturday.
Oh, I wish I was there.
It was the 24th. Good show. A lot of kids out there holding up the signs. We put some videos on our Facebook page. And by the way, please go show us some love on Facebook. I got like 400 likes on Facebook. We've got a ton of Twitter followers and 20,000 downloads and 400 likes. That's pathetic.
Yeah, 20,000 downloads. That means there's at least 1,000 of you out there.
At least,
Can you at least swing over to the Facebook page? Make up a fake account. Come on, show us some love.
You go out there, hit like on We Grow Ours and show us,
Exactly. We'll entertain you on Facebook too. And you all are on there hitting your pro-gun posts and anti-Monsanto posts.
Exactly. And we did. We posted some video from the march. So I had a blast. I got to see people from the right, from the left, and from the middle all come together. People carrying guns, people that didn't like guns, all come together to march against a company that's poisoning our food. It was freaking awesome.
That is awesome.
And it's all about food. That's what we do here is we try to unite people around something, being more independent. And we're out there and I got to see it and I loved it. I had a blast. It was just awesome.
I'm with you there. I wish I could have gone. I had 20 some odd cages I had to build, so it just did not happen. So
I went.
You went. You represented. Represent, yo.
That's right. So my kids, one of my kids went out. My wife went out. We had a lot of fun. I couldn't stick around. I was going to speak at the end, but I couldn't stay in the heat with the kids to make that happen. It was a little warm out, but we had a lot of fun. So thanks for everybody who showed. And this week we have got a very cool guest. This show is not just about this particular episode or any of them for that matter. You need to share with everybody, not just people that are into prepping.
That's right. Well, you need to share to the preppers as well as those that want to grow their own food.
Yep.
And in this week's episode, this is going to touch base with people from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
Anybody who's ever looked at their paycheck and looked at the revenue that their company's bringing in and seeing that they're really not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Me, for one, I've got a day job.
Yeah.
And I love the people I work with. I love doing what I do. But it's not enough. There's more to be had. And I'm not talking just money. I mean, just
passion.
Life in general. Yeah, passion. I mean, it's really hard to get passionate about what I'm doing.
And we're really lucky because we've got the goddess in the house.
That's right. We've got the goddess. So, without further ado, let's bring in the goddess.
All right.
All right. This week in the We Grow Our Show, we are blessed with a goddess in the building. She has graced us with her presence in the Situation Room. We've got Shauna with the Tax Goddess. How you doing today?
Good. Very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming.
Well, very much appreciate it. I'm so excited to be talking with you guys today. So.
It's like you walk into the room and the energy level in here just spikes. So I don't know what it is. It's a very, a radiant personality. Just your presence has already lifted the place up.
Aw, too sweet already.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm trying to stop, but there's just so many more ideas.
It's all good. I get bowed in front of all the time. Being a goddess just kind of goes that route, so it's all good. It's fine. That's
kind of what I was playing off of. And the fact that you're doing my taxes, I want you to like me. So for those of you that don't know, Tax Goddess is probably one of the most successful CPAs here in the Valley. Is that correct? Or
I would certainly love to say that.
Some, right?
Yes.
No, awesome. She is. She's definitely the most successful.
Oh, you're very
most enjoyable. I've never enjoyed talking to an accountant type near as much as Shauna. I'll tell you that right now. And the butt kissing continues.
Well, that one we certainly get a lot. One of the biggest comments that we hear is that we're a CPA firm with a personality, and you can actually talk to us in English rather than getting talked at in tax code. So that's a good reason people choose us.
Yeah, I'm having a conversation with you prior to this. There was a lot less jargon than what I was expecting. I was ready for total mind, done. I don't like code and things like that. I'm a very simple man.
Well, and we've come to realize that most entrepreneurs, most small business owners, most anybody, we're all specialists in our own little field, right? We know how to build that widget or raise rabbits or whatever it is. But when it comes to somebody else's field, like I have no idea about anything about cars. Heaven forbid something goes wrong on my car. I take it to the mechanic and say, please just do whatever you need to do. And they start talking jargon to me and my eyes glaze over. And at least for me, that it doesn't help. It doesn't make any sense. If my job is to try and help small businesses, entrepreneurs, right, you need to understand what it is I'm telling you. Otherwise, what's the point? So.
Yeah. And on
Radio
that note, radio nod. You're making fun of me now. I've got the nod going. I'm like, yeah,
smile
totally.
and nod. Yep.
Well, it's, people listening to this, they don't see me nodding, but I'm sitting here, yes.
Yeah.
We need a little bobblehead.
And he gives me a hard time about it all the time. So,
well, Don gets into it. He's like shaking his head. He's like, yeah, grooving to it. Man,
it's the politics. When we get into the politics and I get red.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, he does.
No.
Arms are flailing. And pictures are coming off the walls. No, it's good. Now, getting back on topic here, a lot of people dread April 15th and having to have the conversations with their accountant and their CPA. And they really don't enjoy that time. In fact, would you say that there's a misconception that you are part of the man?
Yes. And for record's sake, right here, online, on the air, I am not a part of the man. Oh, no. And there's head waving going on, by the way, for those radio nod people. Okay.
Lots of head waving.
Lots of head waving. Yeah, absolutely. My job as a CPA is actually to protect you, to protect the taxpayer, protect the entrepreneur, protect the business owner. My job is to give you all of the strategies and all of the knowledge that I've learned working, with the IRS, not for them, but on the other side of them. Mm-hmm. My job is to provide to you all of that knowledge for whatever is most important in you and your business, or you and your personal life. There's a lot of things, even at the personal level, that people miss as far as deductions or ways to pay their children or, all of these different options that you don't even know exist because, one, you've always just filled out the forms by hand from the government. Mm-hmm. And of course, they don't give you any tips and tricks on how to save money. Or you've used something like a TurboTax or, one of the box softwares where it kind of asks you questions, but not necessarily is it telling you why is it asking that question or why is the answer one way or another important or not important. So, yeah.
Good point. Now, I've actually heard you in another conversation say that you're the shield.
You got it.
You're the shield in between the government and the IRS and the people.
Well, and especially when there's, first things first, planning is most important. Right? You really want to be the shield so that we're planning in advance so you never get a phone call, you never get a letter, you never have somebody knocking on your door. But the other side of the shield, which is a perfect way to describe it, thank you for reminding me, the other way to describe the shield is, okay, you did do your own tax return and there was a mistake or there was something that the IRS wasn't happy about. Okay, you want somebody that is standing in between you and the IRS. You don't want to be talking directly to the IRS because you may say something that might trigger the IRS IRS agent, their thought pattern to go down one path, but that's not what you meant. That wasn't what you were trying to get across. So yeah, you've got almost like a whole little bubble.
It reminds me of Miranda rights. I have the right to remain silent. Anything I say will be used against me.
Right.
So you're the one, you're the lawyer in this, in the accountant sense. You're the one there to protect me from myself as much as from the government.
Exactly.
Well, don't throw her into the group with lawyers.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, some of the tax lawyers are good. I will give them that, but thank you. Yeah. It's a difficult, decision to make when you do run into a problem or when you do know that you're going to have an issue that may cause bigger problems or something that's a little more, crazy or wild, not something that the IRS is used to dealing with. It's always a part of the question, well, do I go to a CPA? Do I use TurboTax? Do I go to a tax attorney? Each one of those professions is going to have a different use in different scenarios. So, perfect example, earlier today I had a client come in and they were telling me about this really nasty divorce that they're in and the wife stole $56,000 of money and all of these issues. Yeah, very kind of nasty thing. And by the time he was done with his story, I let him know, listen, you really want a tax attorney for this case because you want to be protected under attorney-client privilege. And as I'm only a CPA, which I love my CPA title, CPA with a master's in tax, I love that. But if you've gotten into the case where somebody is doing something legal, right? Civil litigation, fraud, felonies, those types of things, you want the client attorney privilege that a tax attorney is going to be able to afford you versus a CPA.
Wow.
Yeah, there's lots of cases and, it's just dependent on what you need at the time. So one of the best things you can do as an entrepreneur is have conversations with lots of different people. Mm-hmm. Talk to a CPA, talk to an attorney, talk to your buddies, call into the show, and I've got a question, guys. Who should I be talking to?
So, Shauna, I've known you for a while now, at least a couple of years, I think. So one of the things that struck me was your passion for entrepreneurs. And one of the reasons we have you on the We Grow Our show is we're self-sustainability. We want to teach people. Our tagline is empower yourself. We're teaching you to empowering yourself, along those
empowering independence.
Yeah, thank you. I knew you'd say it. I was waiting. I'm like, I'm hanging. Come on, say it.
I was trying to let you continue digging that hole.
Just give me the rope. And
here's some rope. Go ahead. Tie the knot.
Yeah. So back on topic. All right. You have a passion for entrepreneurs.
Yes, absolutely.
And entrepreneurship in every aspect that I've seen, not only in your business, but for your clients.
Absolutely.
And you have some news about that too. You have a book coming out.
Yes, I am so excited. It's one of my little brainchilds. I'm not quite sure what exactly triggered me to do it, but I realized, my firm will be 10 years old this August, and I have gathered a lot of data in this cute little head of mine, and, lots and lots of examples and situations, and when should you do this or that, or who should you talk to, those kinds of things. And what I realized is that I was saying the same thing over and over again to entrepreneurs, to people that are starting businesses, or maybe they're within the first 5 to 7 years of their business. And they're just kind of getting their groove and they're just kind of working into things, but this issue pops up or that issue pops up, right? So the book, it's actually the first in a series. It's called The Tax Goddess Guides. And the name of this book is Starting Your Own Business. So it goes over all of your basics from handling money to what types of professionals do you need in your life, what are the pitfalls, what should you be watching out for, legal structures for entities and for your business, taxing structures for your entities and for your business, and pretty much everything in between. And of course, as soon as the book came out, I realized about, 20 other things that I should have put in there. So that'll probably be in book 2. But, so that'll actually be hitting Amazon probably at the end of 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Okay. Which would be
about a week from now.
Yes.
About a week we come out on Mondays.
Oh, fabulous.
So
okay.
we pre-record most of our shows.
So that'll be the 20.
I'd say middle of June.
Middle of June?
Yeah. It should be up middle of June, and it'll be Kindle version probably by the end of June.
Okay. And I do have to say I have had the ability to, or the privilege to read this, and it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
One of the things that I've said throughout my career, owning a few different businesses and being in IT and seeing things, is there a lot of the successful people that I see have something in common, and they're surrounding themselves with people that are smarter than them. And that's kind of one of the things you talk about in the book, is the teams that you need to put together, the people who you need for taxes. Hey, hire the tax goddess because she knows what to do better than you do. And I think that's a really important thing that you bring out of that book.
Well, thank you. And I think really truly that applies in every situation in business, period. Like, let's take, for example, that you're fabulous. I love the idea of raising rabbits and how do you build that and all this. Well, in your business model, you need manufacturing people, right? You may need a commercial real estate agent. Where am I going to buy farmland? Depending on how big it gets, you may need bankers, lawyers,
Which, by the way, commercial real estate people, they laugh me off the phone when I say I want to build a rabbit farm.
You are talking to the wrong commercial real estate
I know,
people.
right? I need somebody that now.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of what you guys are, in my opinion, of what you guys are really doing here is you're building a community of like-minded people that, there's going to be a couple commercial real estate agents in the people that are listening to this broadcast.
Absolutely.
So, that's one of the benefits of finding people within your own niche is that if you can find the right kind of people, somebody always knows somebody.
Always.
And the benefits of being a goddess, I know lots of somebody. So definitely let me know if you need somebody. So
Okay.
for sure.
So you've been doing this for 10 years. You've been running your own business.
Correct.
So let's dive into the book a little bit. What are some of the chapters or sections of the book that you think are the most important for our crowd, the self-sustainability? And I know I'm throwing this out in thin air to you, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
Jeez, Don.
So, yeah, what would you, if you had to pick out a couple of things to say to the entrepreneurs, to the people that are maybe working the 9 to 5, but want to move into a more self-sustaining life, whether it be agriculture or raising rabbits, or just jumping out and starting their own business for whatever idea they have, what's your advice?
Absolutely. So the first thing, in my opinion, is whether or not you really should go out and start a business. Because to me, if you're not absolutely 100%, 150% in love with whatever it is you're doing, you have no right opening a business. And let me back up. Of course you have a right. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm not meaning to get all whatever. But if you don't have that passion that this is what you're willing to do and you're willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning and you're willing to stay up until midnight and you're willing to pull all-nighters and you're willing to work every single day, 24/7, 365 days a year for at least 2 or 3 years minimum, you're not going to make it by owning your own business. Right. So having it as a side business, as a hobby, right, while you still have your 9 to 5 job, that might actually be better for you. Right. And the only person that can really answer that question is you. It's within yourself. Right. The other area that I think going along with that is very important is trying to decide, you see these people have this entrepreneurial fit. It comes from a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth. And phenomenal book.
Nick, have you read it yet?
I don't read
Coming,
them,
reading.
I barely made it through chapter 1 of yours. And I gotta admit that what I've read, I've loved, but it's just slow going.
Absolutely. Well,
like
it's
said,
a business book. It's a tax book.
I've known Nick for a while, and he got through chapter 1. That is phenomenal.
Woohoo!
Okay, so
High five! Awesome.
I'm lucky to get him through a paragraph.
Yeah. Come on, Don.
Yeah. Well, now wait a minute. How many times have we gone on the other side of this, Nick?
Yeah, I know, but you're the man that gets to edit, so all of this is going to end up when
I always remind him when he's bullying me on air that I get the edit.
Well, so one of the most important things that he talks about in the E-Myth is that people have this entrepreneurial fit, right? They're working for somebody else, doing something, whatever it is, right? And they decide, you know what? I can do this better than my boss. I can make more money at this if I get rid of that middleman, that boss, and I go out and do it on my own. Right. And so they leave a stable job. I mean, as you were talking about, right? Unfortunately, money is still something that we basically need. I mean, unless you've got food, water, shelter, power, everything covered in some other manner. Yeah, a whole lot of gold or silver or whatever it is. You still need money, right? And so a lot of people will go out and have this entrepreneurial fit. That's it. I'm done. I'm tired of my boss. I can do this better. Well, they have a wife and 2 kids and they have a house payment and they walk out and they realize that they quit this $40, $60, $80,000 job and now they can't pay for anything. And starting a new business takes money. It takes time. I mean, there are very few businesses. Maybe in the 10 years I've been in business, maybe seen 5 or 6 where the day they walked out of their job, right? The 3-letter terrible word, the job, right? That they were making money right off the bat.
And they probably left with a big contact
They
list.
left with a contact list. They left with a contract. They left with whatever. It wasn't like they just said, nope, that's it. I'm going to go hang out my own shingle. So, one of the most important things I can tell anybody who's trying to go out on their own, build up that business. Either you have a whole bunch of savings that you know is going to disappear building up the new business, or build it up slowly on the side, keep your W-2, right? You're going to be working effectively 2 or 3 jobs, right? Don't expect sleep. It's like having a baby, right? You're not going to have any sleep, so just don't even expect it. But if you do that and you have the passion to do what you're going for, right? You will succeed. I think maybe once I've seen somebody that had the passion, put in the time, not succeed. Once out of 10 years is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It's really about the passion for me. It really is. And so you hear people, I'm going to start this cool little side business. Don't bother making it your full. Well, just don't bother. I mean, if you want it as a side hobby, totally fine, right? You're doing it to make some extra money and you like the niche group of people and okay, that's fine, right? If you're in it to win it, you got to have the passion, period.
Yeah. Well, my wife likes hobby jobs too. She's very passionate about her goats. She goes out, she makes some money, breaks even, we sell some goats. It's not a job.
Right.
This is sounding bad already. I can see it's going down a rabbit hole I don't want to go. My wife is an amazing woman who has an amazing job taking care of my children, and she's phenomenal at it. So that's not what I meant.
Kissy noises.
You can tell when somebody is passionate and they belong out being an entrepreneur, like you said, the fit.
Right. So. Well, and I truly, honestly believe that other people will see it as well, right? Other people, we have evolved as a race of people, right? Of all the people on the planet, we can read the micro expressions in other people's faces, right? That's why they say that 70% of all of our communication is in person, right? Is the visual. So of course you guys can't see it right now, but I feel like we need to be filming the 3 of us, but you can see it and sometimes you can even hear it in somebody's voice. Right. When their voice starts crackling because they're so passionate about whatever it is they're telling you, you can hear that and you feel it and it comes across and
you absorb it.
And you absorb it. Other people want to work with you because they realize, oh, wait, this guy's really passionate about what he's doing. And
they will be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we get in this industry, we have a lot of people that are considered preppers, survival, and along with that, you get people who believe that the doomsday thing is coming and all this. So,
well, we were supposed to have 6 apocalypses in the past, 2 years or something,
exactly,
right? So,
the math has always been off a little.
Well, those Mayans, they just messed up the whole damn thing.
Exactly. The calendar.
Yeah.
So part of that is, and I don't even know where I'm going for this, so I'm going to have to edit that whole part out. So, Shauna, I love having the edit button.
Oh gosh.
With the doomsday crowd and all that, and people worrying about the economy. Mm-hmm. And gold and silver is the way to go. What do you see business as? And because you hear about, the freedoms are being taken away and we're being suffering on this level and that level. Is now the time to go out and become an entrepreneur if you have the passion? Or is it time to go look for a job and say, okay, I'm going to just kind of step back from everything and go work for somebody else?
So, excellent question. Of course, you are talking to an entrepreneur, right? So my answer is going to be go entrepreneurs. Absolutely, 100%. The one thing that I love about entrepreneurs is that you put us in an empty room with nothing in it, right? We will find a way to make money. It's just how it is. We will come up with some idea. We will speak to other people and hear something and go, oh, that's brilliant. There's a niche right there. I can do something with that, right?
You just shoulder right in there.
Yeah. And, and the goods and the bads of it, as entrepreneurs, you're talking about shouldering in, right? Part of me believes that we don't have the same set of filters or we've completely blown away those filters as W-2 people do. Because, often entrepreneurs will hear something and we'll just butt right into a conversation. Oh, I can help you with that, or I can do this, or, we don't have, we almost lack that sense of fear that it's not going to work. Fearless is the perfect word for an entrepreneur.
I believe it can, that symptom can advance into foot into mouth disease.
Often. This
I've
is
had
true.
that. I looked at somebody building the chain link fence for my last boss. I was like, I could do that. Give me the words back, give me the words back, give me the words back. Because guess what I was doing that weekend?
Building a chain link fence. So
I guess I was. Learning how and doing it.
Well, but guess what, right? What did you do? You opened your mouth, right? You were being fearless. You learned a new skill that if the world does collapse, guess what? Guess who knows how to go put in post and put in fence?
Yeah, anti-zombie stuff. Heck yeah.
Hello? Right there, man. I am all about the zombie protection right there. But yeah, and that's one thing actually that I think a lot of people don't realize, people that maybe are in a W-2 and they're afraid to go and try opening a small business, right? You have more skills than you think you do. You really do. Because even if you're working in a W-2 job, somebody trained you something that you can go and turn into something else.
You have a marketable skill.
You have marketable skills, right? If you've always been working a desk job, fine. It might be typing really fast, but maybe your language skills, because you've always been in front of a computer, always sending emails, you are able to wordsmith the most perfect emails and convince people to do whatever you need them to do. You might be the leader of a group in the zombie attack because you can convince people, hey, you're good with fences and you're good with guns. Let's go, right? And so it really... People have a lot of skills that maybe they don't recognize. And one of the things you were talking about, who should be on your team, a business coach or, any kind of a coach that can stand back and look at you as a third party, right? Because each one of us are in our own heads, right?
We're the hero of our own story.
Exactly. I think I have the skill and I think I'm awesome at it. And well, yeah, apparently not.
Yeah.
Or the other way.
Learning what you don't know is just as important. So.
Absolutely.
If you can't craft the emails, find an entrepreneur that can and surround
Build your
yourself
team. People smarter than you, right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. You're full of knowledge. All right, Nick, your turn.
Okay. Dance, monkey, dance. So we're talking about different jobs that would be viable, different business ventures that would be viable should the economy collapse. It's my belief that the food industry is the perfect place to get into because even if the money's not worth it,
you still got to eat.
Exactly.
Period.
People need to eat and we're going to need some sort of fuel. Right. So food and fuel, the double F's, that right there is important to me. So let's say right now, while we have a government in place and we have currency in place and taxes and whatnot, there's a lot of things people could do and trade for other goods.
Correct.
How do we go about doing that without making Uncle Sam mad?
Yes, of course. Uncle Sam, unfortunately, as you said, within the current government, Uncle Sam is important to make sure that you're paying attention to. We see barter quite frequently. And what ends up happening is, so you've got rabbits and I've got chickens, right? So you want some eggs and I want some rabbit meat and there we go, right? Mm-hmm. Often what happens is I will trade you X number of eggs for X number of pounds of rabbit, right? The unfortunate downside to that is that under the current government, right, they look at that as income and as an expense. So the good thing about it is that not necessarily are you going to be taxed on it, but if you fail to report it, so let's do a little mini tangent off into the tax law, okay? If you fail to report your income by more than 25%, the government has the right, under the current tax laws, to come and get you and throw you in jail. Okay? So, yes.
And they can pay for my food.
Right.
And fuel.
And fuel and shelter and all the rest of it. So the downside to it is that a lot of people have gone to barter, and you see this even here in town. I mean, we're in Phoenix and Scottsdale. There are companies like Value Card Alliance that is barter, right? There's these companies out there that help individuals barter with each other. The downside to it is that if you're not paying attention, if you've earned more than 25% of your gross income in barter and you fail to report that as income and the government ever finds out, now you're in jail.
So, okay, I did not know that because even this morning, I have a few friends, social media friends, some people I met at the March for Monsanto over the weekend as well, who are agorists.
Okay.
I think I'm pronouncing that right. But basically, they're small homesteaders. They live in self-sustainable communities. They're growing their own foods, rabbits, quail, all sorts of stuff. And then they take those to the farmers markets or other places, and they're not selling them for cash. They're selling them for Bitcoins,
Right.
Maybe silver, and they're doing this whole barter thing. Yet they're not, and I'm putting quotes.
The general,
do not feel they're in the system or want to participate in the system, so they don't feel that since they're not using capital, they don't have to pay taxes, they don't have to do any of this. So most of the people that I've met that are seriously into that lifestyle don't participate. Is that something they can get in trouble for?
Absolutely.
They don't do anything.
Absolutely. So of course, as a CPA, right, you know, my job is to protect you, right? But my job as part of protection is also to tell you the rules, right? Mm-hmm. These are the rules. This is the chessboard that's been laid out. How do we get around it, right? So yes, absolutely. The absolute rule is if I grow chickens, right? Mm-hmm. I breed chickens and I sell those chickens for anything else. Gold, Bitcoin, rabbit. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever I sell those chickens for, I have earned income in the fair market value of whatever I was given, right? So if I was given 1 ounce of gold and that's $168 an ounce or whatever it is, I have earned $168. Now, whether I get caught not reporting it is an entirely different issue. Right? Because I agree, there are people that believe themselves to be 100% off the grid. They, as far as, you know, they don't report taxes, they don't make any income that's traceable by the government, you know, no interest on bank accounts, no Social Security, no retirement funds, none of that kind of stuff.
Right.
If you never get caught, I mean, that is what it is, right? If you never get caught, you never get caught. Are you following the rules by not reporting it? No.
Well, and the sad part is, and I know I'm going to touch on a bad point here, but that's how they get in trouble because a lot of these people are also the ones going out and marching and doing this. And,
you get caught by the police
now
and you're
on
done.
A list and, look, you haven't done this or you haven't done that.
Well, you haven't filed your tax returns in how
crime.
many years?
Yeah. So,
well, you committed a crime. In the eyes of the IRS, you committed a crime the instant you earned revenue and did not pay tax on it.
Yeah.
That's the crime.
Is there a way to get out of the system, Shauna? To say, I want to move out to a 100-acre piece of property somewhere in BFE, mm-hmm. and I'm going to go out there and I'm not going to do anything anymore. I don't want to participate in the system. I'll grow my own food and all.
And we're done.
Is there a way to get there?
It's a really good question. There are lots of ways to minimize your risks of getting caught. Let's start there, okay? Because even if you move to BFE nowhere, and assuming BFE nowhere is somewhere within the continental U.S.
Yeah.
Okay. You still own a piece of property, which means your name is still on something, which means you're paying property taxes to somebody.
Paying rent.
Done. You're in the system, right? Now, you know, there's a lot of talk about, well, we could set up a trust and I don't own it and these people over here own it and they pay my taxes. I mean, there's all sorts of little strategies.
Still paying the taxes.
Somebody's still on the thing, right? And the goods and the bads of it, right? I mean, let's put it this way. If you're making $20,000 a year in whatever format, right? Gold or whatever. Okay. You're making $20,000 a year and it's enough for you to eat and you really don't need any power because you have solar panels and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. You can probably wean yourself off of the system, right? Because what does the government tax? The government taxes things you earn. Okay. So if let's say you had a W-2 and you bought a farm and you've been paying taxes, you've been a good little taxpayer, right? And you've been paying taxes. Yeah, smiley giggle, right? Good little taxpayer. You've been going along.
The bunny ears.
The bunny ears. Yeah. So, you know, you've been paying taxes and you bought a farm, okay? And the farm is for you and your family and your cousins and your aunt, okay? I mean, it's all your family, all right? On the farm, you now have solar panels that you bought and you paid taxes for that money. You bought chickens and pigs and cows and whatever else and, you know, grains and whatever else you need to survive for you, okay? When you stop making money, I mean, there's nothing to tax. There is no tax return for you to file.
Right.
But if you're in the process of owning a business, which in the IRS's terms, that means you're making money on something, right? So you're selling those bunny rabbits for the gold or you're selling the chicken eggs for the gold. You're supposed to report it.
Is there a limit as to how, like
$600?
Oh my goodness.
So it's not enough to live on. It's not, you know, I mean, and in the eyes of the IRS, I mean, $600 is if you don't report it over $600, we get mad, right?
Right.
If you earn a single dollar, according to the law, you earn a single dollar, you file a tax return, you pay the tax.
Wow.
Now, you won't have any tax on a dollar, But you're supposed to file a return. You're supposed to pay the tax.
Well, and it's interesting. I had gone up to Portal, Arizona, which is down kind of near Mexico, New Mexico border down there. Beautiful area. Taught a class to the community out there to get them, help them with aquaponics and kind of teach them self-sufficiency. And while I was out there, I got to meet a family who was a photographer, fashion photographer, and in fashion, a designer in L.A. High end. These guys were making, probably combined $300 a year. So decent living. She got pregnant. They decided, okay, we're going to sell everything. We're going to get out of debt. They were pretty deep in debt. They sold everything, literally everything they owned, went out to Portal, bought a small section of land. I think they started with 7 acres, ended up buying 25, started a CSA, and their income is $500 a month. Yeah. And I thought, oh, wow, you're out of the system. But you're really not, even at that.
You're really
I mean,
not.
they have solar panels. They're very careful with their energy. But they still have to be in the system.
Well, and here's one of the pieces that just kills me, right? I mean, you're right. They did their best. They went out there. They're away. Unfortunately, most of us think in our minds physical awayness counts for being off the grid. Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
Well, the further away you are from the city, the bigger weapons they can use.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking like the Amazon drones, and I mean, don't even get me started about all that junk. But as long as I still get my Amazon delivery, we're happy. Right?
You don't understand. Our listeners will love you.
So, but yeah, I mean, the downside is that they are, even though they themselves, as one little tiny unit, right, one little tiny family unit, they may not get pulled for random audit. They may not get pulled at all, ever, right? However, if somebody else that they're trading with gets pulled and their name, that family name, shows up anywhere in those records, you better damn well believe that the IRS, they work like a spider web. Right? So they audit one person that they know is doing something wrong, or that they have heard, or they've been told. Like, what if one of their neighbors gets mad and you can call the IRS. It's called the whistleblower line. They get mad at those neighbors and they call the IRS, and now you're on the whistleblower line, and guess what? Everyone that traded with that family is now on their network. Little spider web. So the IRS has very long
Dawn's turning
fingers.
red over here. I've got angry Dawn
now.
face.
Well, and the point of it is, so let's back up. Remember I said 25% of your income. Okay, now obviously as a CPA, I'm not allowed to tell you don't report your income, okay? I have to tell you to report your income.
Right.
However, 25% of your income is what's considered fraud. So if you're doing 23%, it's not fraud. Well, you're giggling, but this is one of the, right? These are the rules.
Yeah,
These are the rules.
lay it on us.
Okay.
I think it's funny, but continue.
So 23% is not considered fraud. You better have your math darn well down, right? Because you do not want to get to 25%. But 23% is not considered fraud. You're just going to get a really nasty penalty and probably get flagged for audit for 2 or 3 years. So how do I say this? One of the things that I believe is super important is that you as a business owner, you as an individual, you should know the laws that apply to you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you should know that the Constitution applies to you. You should know that the tax laws apply to you. Good, bad, whatever you feel about them, these are the laws and this is how they apply. So learn, just like a chess game, learn exactly the rules and how to get around them the way you want to get around them. Yeah. That's the game.
That's a great point. Great point. I don't think the IRS should even be in existence, but
it's a whole nother series here. Yeah.
So.
This is where I could say, there were some laws in the South that were pretty nasty, and it was legal to do a few things. This is exactly when Hitler took office. That was all legal. Everything that he did was legalized. So just because it's a law doesn't make it right. But since it is a law, it can be enforced. So
when the problem is who's got the bigger guns. And unfortunately, it's not you.
Exactly.
It's generally the answer. So
we've got our audience sitting out there. Going, I got the bigger gun.
I got a bigger gun.
I got this much and this much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what scares me is that I had a client once, and she had just recently become my client within a year that this incident occurred. And she was trading, and I had no idea. Okay. I was dealing with her legitimate, and I've got bunny ears. Okay. Her legitimate business out here. Well, I need them to see that.
Yeah.
You got to see the bunny ears. Okay. I was dealing with her legitimate business. Okay. So we were doing the bookkeeping and the tax returns and all this kind of stuff. Well, one day I get a phone call from her spouse saying, yep, so she's been swatted. And I went, what do you mean swatted? Oh yeah, well the police showed up and the FBI showed up and they grabbed her and threw her into her black truck and they took her. And I'm like, well, can you tell me any more about it? And she's like, you don't want to know. I'm like, okay. So I really, I found out probably about a year and a half later, I got a letter from her in jail. She was dealing in gold. And this was 6 years ago. I mean, unfortunately, you get these things where as individuals, we look at it and say, well, this should be fine. We're not doing anything wrong. We're talking little dollar amounts. They don't care. They don't care. You break that rule. If you make $1,000 and you only report $600, you have broken that rule. They will come and get you.
There's a lot of emotion that you guys can't see here. She is the shield.
So, go ahead.
Question. Let's say I've got a rabbit that's worth is $15.
Okay.
And somebody's got a chicken who's worth $15. And we trade.
Okay.
Neither of us have really made an income.
So, the joys of the IRS, right? Okay.
Really?
Well, think about it this way. When you go to the store, when you go to the grocery store and you trade 15 cash dollars to buy $15 worth of lettuce or whatever of a steak, right? Do you get to deduct that steak on your tax return? Do you get to deduct the steak?
I don't think so.
You do not, right? Because it's a personal expense, right? You bought food for yourself. It's a personal expense. But the grocery store has to pick up the $15 of income, right? Because that's their income. So if you raise rabbits as your business, right, and you sell that rabbit to me, right, you pick up $15 worth of income. But when you buy a chicken to eat, it's a personal expense. It's groceries.
But what if I don't do it for a living?
Then it's DBA.
I mean, I do aquaponics and I raise, I'm afraid to say anything now.
Kill the question.
I sit in a corner when I get home. Play video games.
If I raise a rabbit and I want to trade my neighbor for his beef and we do a straight across trade.
If it's
neither
a hobby.
of us gain. I raise a rabbit to eat. I mean, it's my food. I've already paid for it in feed and everything else to.
Now let's back up.
Yes.
You right now have a job.
Yes.
Right? And you can support your family on the money that you make from your job.
Almost.
Almost. Okay, for the record, say yes. Yes. Okay. So with that being said, the IRS will look at you in your specific instance. Yes, that's a hobby. That's not a problem. Right? But if the only thing you're doing is selling aquaponics and that's how you're feeding your family, that is now your business.
Gotcha. Well,
so that's how you make your income.
Doing aquaponics.
Right, but for purposes of this, the rabbits for the hobby.
Yes, I got you. Wow, okay.
Yeah. So really what you're looking at is your income is your income, right? And your expenses, right? The cash or gold or whatever that's going out, you have to determine whether or not those are deductible for tax purposes or not.
Okay, I can't do that. How about you?
No.
So I think the advice is just to hire the tax goddess.
And so, well, she's not going to give that advice. I mean, I know she's good at what she does, but we'll go ahead and say you should go and visit the tax goddess and get your straight.
Yes.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
So, Shauna, where do we find you, your business, your book, all of it? Where do our listeners go? And I'm going to put all this in our show notes.
Oh, thank you. So, easiest place to find me is our website, which is www.taxgoddess.com. So super easy to find. If you'd like to talk to me, in the top right-hand corner, there's a button that says set appointment, and we can do a 15-minute call, a 30-minute call. I do Skype, I do in person. So whatever it is that you need, definitely click the link and set an appointment. As far as the book, right now you can buy it directly from my website, which is taxgoddesspublishing.com. But as I mentioned, in a week or two, it will be up on Amazon for sale. So hopefully as soon as that's up, these kind gentlemen will add a link for me.
Heck yes, we will.
And then honestly, the best, how do I want to say this for your crowd? Typically, you're going to have some types of questions that you don't want to put in writing. Okay? So,
I don't even want to ask them on the air.
You don't even want to ask them on the air.
I'm worried about trading a rabbit.
Exactly.
So if I've got 3 acres of marijuana.
Well, now that's legal. You're fine. It doesn't matter. You're fine.
I'm in the backwoods of Colorado.
So, my general commentary is you want to find a CPA that you can work with that, 1, understands your industry. Okay. 2, understands your goals, because your goals, your life purpose, and where you're trying to get to is how you come up with a tax plan. Okay.
World domination.
Well, there we go, right? We got to buy the mountain with the cave in it first. It's first.
Happening.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Just making sure. Okay. Sorry, now I'm totally off track. But anyway, you want to find, CPA that understands you, understands your goals, and that you can really talk to, that you can understand, and that will answer your questions in English. If you meet with somebody and you have no idea what they said when you leave that meeting, you have not met the right CPA. So
you work in Arizona.
Correct.
A high majority of our listeners are in Arizona, but we do have people from across the country.
Absolutely.
How would they go about finding a CPA? What's the advice to them to say, would they contact you, or would they, look in their yellow pages, how do they find the person that's right for them?
Absolutely. So, and that's actually
First
in the book
read your
too.
book, right?
First read the book, because there is a section about what questions should you be asking your professional. But, honestly, what I would do is go to your niche group of people and say, okay, who are you working with? Hey, you raise rabbits in Pennsylvania. Who are you working with? Who's your CPA? Do they understand barter? Do they understand gold? Do they even know what Bitcoin is? That's a big question right now. So, I would ask around in your own group of people, right? You're going to get reviews. Yelp especially has become a big thing. So Yelp Online gives you lots of good reviews that way as to determining whether somebody's good or bad. And then of course, absolutely. The good thing about being a CPA is that I belong to a lot of large national CPA organizations. So if you can't find somebody, those methods, send me an email. I'm more than happy to ask my peeps, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Who knows who in the industry? So
very good. Well, Shawna, thank you so much for coming to the Situation Room today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fabulously fun, gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much.
What will you do when your stored supplies run out? Are you prepared? Hostile Hair provides equipment and education you need to control your own infinite food supply. We have live food storage systems for rabbits, quail, and other urban livestock for any situation and strategy. Don't be limited by what's on the shelves. Get started with an infinite food source today. Call 480-331-3761, 480-331-3761, or visit hostilehair.com.
Wow, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. I wish you guys could have been here because there was a lot of energy in the room.
Yeah, I was just going to say the energy in the Situation Room is off the charts. Shawna was a blast. Be sure and go check out taxgoddess.com. Mm-hmm. Go to the show notes to look at everything else. And I'm telling you, I got to look at the book and read through the book. It's phenomenal.
I'm working on it, but words are hard.
Words are hard. So this week we've got a plug of the week, the non-smoke shop. All right, you guys know I've talked about vaping before and e-cigarettes, and I know it's this big fad and all that stuff out there, but you're talking to a guy who smoked for 20 years, and I don't smoke anymore. I'm pretty excited about this whole thing.
I'm excited for you. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Well, and I part of the reason I never quit it was because I enjoyed it so much. Mm-hmm. And there's all this research out there about e-cigs.
Stop selling cigarettes.
I know. There's all this research about e-cigs and how dangerous they are and how they're the same as smoking and all that. So do your own research, make your own decisions, look at who's funding all these research projects.
Follow the money up.
But hey, I'm not saying it's good for you because it's not. But as a smoker from 20 years, all I'm going to tell you is I feel a whole lot better. So I'm going to go back to the vape thing. So this guy, Bud Out is the cigarette shop. Matt Berger is the owner over there. He's got a couple of shops, in Phoenix kind of downtown on 708 East Virginia Avenue, 401 South Mill Avenue in Tempe, and 6601 North 47th Avenue is the lab, and it's open a little bit on Friday, Saturday, I think. And that's where they make the juice, which is the flavorings, basically. So, buttouteSigs.com. Shout out goes out to Matt. I had a blast at the poker game. Thank you, to everybody who, let me win a new mod. How's that? We'll just go there. And that was awesome. I had a lot of fun. So, that was at this old vape shop, which is another vape shop. It's a very tight-knit community here in Phoenix. So if you guys are looking for some good flavors, if you're looking to get into e-cigs, go see Matt at Bud Out. He'll hook you up, and I'm sure,
tell him the We Grow Our show sent you.
Yeah. Go check them out. That's the plug of the week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Check us out at We Grow Ours on Twitter, Facebook.com/WeGrowOurs, WeGrowOurs.com, and WeGrowOurs.com/AskUs. Go ask your questions. Hey, if you want, record it. Nobody's done that yet. I get all these questions, but nobody ever records it.
It's because we've all got real pretty voices.
That's all right. I'll put those on. I'll put anybody's voice on. So
it'll make you sound like the cut the light.
Go record it. Send me the link. I'll put that on if you have a good question.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.